Hi there. So we're working our way through John, and today we are on chapter 11. So, and we did 9 and 10 yesterday, and Good Shepherd, Jesus asserts his deity, right? All right. Just checking real quick, right? He said, "I and the Father are one." Remember? And they picked up stones to kill him, right? But he answered, "I do good works. Which of them are you stoning me for? Not for good works, but for blasphemy." Right? And he pointed out some scriptures that where others said the same thing, where God actually said that kind of stuff. So, okay. The death and resurrection of Lazarus. This is a good story. Good piece of history, okay? Now, a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was the Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. So the sisters sent word to him, saying, "Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick." But when Jesus heard this, he said, "The sickness is not to end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified by it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this he said to his disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and you are going there again." Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, but if he sees the light of this world, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. Then after that, he said to them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go so that I may awaken him out of sleep." The disciples then said to him, "Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover." Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought he was speaking of literal sleep. So then Jesus said to them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. And I'm glad for your sakes that I was not there, so that you may believe, but let us go to him." Therefore Thomas, who was called Didymus, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go, so that we may die with him." So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. He stayed 2 days, 4 days. It must have taken days for the message to get to him, right? Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off. And many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. Martha, therefore, when she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him, but Mary stayed at the house. Martha then said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been there, my brother would not have died. Even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even if he dies." Yeah, that's one of the most famous verses in John right there, right? That's just... I used to sing songs in the 70s as a teenager in the youth group with this very title, right? "And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord. I have believed that you are the Christ, the Son of God, even he who comes into the world." When she said this, she went away and called Mary her sister, saying secretly, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and was coming to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and consoling her, when they saw Mary, got up and quickly went out and followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to weep there. Therefore, when Mary came where Jesus was, she saw him and fell at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews who came to her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit, and was troubled. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." And then the shortest verse in the Bible, right? Jesus wept. Okay? Jesus wept. That's important, okay? Because he knows he's going to raise him, right? From the dead, right? And he knows they're going to be happy. But the Lord, Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua, all of them, they feel your pain, right? They feel your pain. They will cry with you, right? Should not forget that. So the Jews were saying, see how he loved him. But some of them said, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man also from dying? So Jesus, again being deeply moved within, came, what is that little asterisk there, huh? Came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, remove the stone. Martha, the sister of the deceased, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said, did I not say to you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they removed the stone. Then Jesus raised his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me. Because of the people standing around, I said it, so that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said these things, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. The man who died came forth, bound hand and foot with wrappings, and his face was wrapped around with a cloth. Jesus said to them, unbind him and let him go. Therefore many of the Jews who came to Mary and saw what he had done believed in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them the things which Jesus had done. Right. Therefore the chief priests and the Pharisees convened a council and were saying, what are you doing? For this man is performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, all men will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation. Right? They'll take away our cars and our houses and our luxuries. But one of them, Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, said to them, you know nothing at all, nor do you take into account that it is expedient for you that one man die for the people, and that the whole nation not perish. Now he did not say this on his own initiative, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus was going to die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but in order that he might also gather together into one of the children of God who are scattered abroad. The children of God who were scattered abroad, right? So from that day on, they planned together to kill him. Therefore, Jesus no longer continued to walk publicly among the Jews, but went away from there to the country near the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there he stayed with the disciples. Now the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went up to Jerusalem out of the country before the Passover to purify themselves. So they were seeking for Jesus, and they were saying to one another as they stood in the temple, what do you think, that he will not come to the feast at all? Now the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that if anyone knew where he was to report it so they might seize him. Okay, there you go. So we're getting to the serious part, right? So tomorrow is 12. These are kind of longer chapters. So it's like a 1 chapter a day thing, right? And there's 21. So yeah, we're gonna be in John for a while. So there you go. That's chapter 11, right? Lazarus raised from the dead. Jesus wept. He is capable of feeling other people's pain and crying with them, right? He does that. The Lord does that, okay? The Lord does that for everybody who is in pain. If you cry out to him, right, he will cry with you, okay? It's happened. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. So it does happen. So there you go. Catch up on the ones you may have missed and give us a like if you think about it. And tomorrow we will continue. See you then.